How is it the Attorney General, who the last time I checked his office is in Washington, D.C., could be completely unaware of extremists, violent extremists, storming the Department of the Interior?
Well, funny that you ask it. We actually mapped it out just out of curiosity. And the Department of Interior building that was raided by extremists is 1.2 miles from his office. Like, you could walk there in 15 minutes if he wanted to. And so the sheer fact that he didn't know about it, either one, he's just outright lying to the American people, which is certainly possible with the people that are in this administration, or two, they are so shielded from anything that isn't Trump supporters or conservatives or targeting parents at school board meetings. They're so focused on liberal ideology to support their leftist socialist propaganda that they're not even seeing what's happening 1.2 miles away from their office.
You showed the Attorney General two pictures. He still maintained his ignorance here. I want to read aloud 18 U.S. Code 2383, rebellion or insurrection. Whoever incites, set on foot, assists, or engages in any rebellion or insurrection against the authority of the United States or the laws thereof, or gives aid or comfort thereto, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 10 years, or both, and shall be incapable of holding any office under the United States. I don't see that limiting insurrection as they define it to the count, the electoral vote count. And I mean, it's not like, I think we're all honest here. It's not like they were grabbing the decoder ring or the sword from the stone, and if they stopped the count, it was going to make the QAnon shaman the government, and everyone was going to start answering to his orders. That's largely symbolic. It was wrong what they did. It was wrong, but it was not going to transfer power away from Joe Biden or anyone else for that matter. By the definition of the U.S. Code, what those people were doing was also insurrection.
Absolutely, 100%. And that's what I was trying to highlight. And, you never know how he's going to respond to questions. And I actually had it, good lawyers kind of have like, okay, whatever way the witness is going to go, you're prepared to go either direction based on his response. And the more I thought about it, I'm like, there's no way he's going to say, yes, that's the same type of activity. Yes, those are also domestic terrorists. And yes, we're going to take the full force of the Department of Justice and prosecute these individuals to the fullest extent under the law. And I figured he would just figure out a way to just say, well, it's an ongoing investigation and I can't comment on ongoing investigations, like he did for numerous other Republican members who were asking him very pointed questions on a whole list of things, from school boards being targeted by the FBI for just not agreeing with their children being taught critical race theory to January 6th. But just the fact that and that's why I kind of like boiled it down and I brought the two pictures. Like, here are two pictures of two different groups of people committing the exact same crime in two buildings right here in the Capitol. I mean, this wasn't like it was the federal building in Seattle and then you had the Capitol. No, we were talking like two buildings right here in D.C. that are miles from each other, and you term one of them domestic terrorists and have no problem using the full extent of the DOJ and the FBI to storm these people's houses, some of which weren't even there on January 6th, to arrest them and put them in solitary confinement. But we're not going to do that to left-wing extremists, environmental extremists, which just illustrates to the American people how politicized this Department of Justice has gotten under this administration. Now, they were already politicized. We saw Trump-Russia collusion hoax for 3 years. So we knew we had the deep state in the FBI, and we knew that was going on. But now they're emboldened under this administration and this attorney general, and it's almost like they don't care that people know. It's almost like, and I even told them, I said, you have the chance right here today to explain to the American people that if two sets of people, regardless of ideology, commit the same crime, and I have pictures of both of them right here, that you're going to prosecute them equally under the law versus political justice, which is what your department is doing. And again, he refuses to say that what happened to the Department of Interior is also domestic terrorism. And that tells you all you need to know.
Well, and look, what is amazing about this, and you'll never get credit in the media, is that I think conservatives, Republicans have roundly said in one loud voice, what took place on January 6th was wrong. People broke the law. They should be held accountable, but you have to hold everyone accountable when they violate the law. It can't be that, well, these were indigenous protesters who were upset at pipelines, so, we have to stop and listen to them. Fine. That's what the First Amendment's all about, to peaceably assemble, petition the government for redress of grievances. Good. Whatever you want to talk about same-sex marriage or, time's up or whatever, that's fine. You want to protest, you want to protest against the Second Amendment, you protest for the Second Amendment, you do it peacefully. Once you start fighting with police officers, and again, conservatives said this was wrong, condemn this, what took place at the Capitol. But how are those officers and their injuries any less important? How is breaching that federal agency any less important?
Exactly. And there were 55. And again, this just shows you either he's outright lying to the American people or he's so shielded from, it's people that support us and our ideology, so we're going to look the other way. 55 people were arrested, and they were arrested by federal officers. The security personnel and the officers who secure our federal buildings here are federal officers. So 55 people were arrested. Some other people got away, and he doesn't know about that. And it happened a mile, 1.2 miles from his office. And we're going to just completely put all of the resources of the Department of Justice and the FBI to go after everybody on January 6th. And you're right. Every Republican member of Congress condemned what happened. And I've stated over and over again, look, if you're going to break the law, then you should be held accountable. But that accountability should be fair and just under the law. And most of these people just simply walked into the Capitol building, some of which, if you watch some of the video, the officers were having conversations with these people. They were just letting them in. Now, there were some circumstances where that didn't happen. And if there were individuals that were assaulting law enforcement officers, then they should be held accountable for those actions. But it also should apply to people on other political spectrums. And Americans saw all last summer all of this craziness happening in Portland, happening in police departments in Minneapolis, and nothing happened to these people. You're not hearing any information about those people who were quote unquote protesting, and for it was like months on end, every single day, going up against this federal courthouse in Seattle or Portland or in Washington State. And nothing ever happened to these individuals. And if they were arrested, they were immediately let go on bond or bail or left on their own recognizance, unlike the people in January 6th. So you have very different – and when the American people start to see that the exact same actions are having a political skew under the justice laws, you're going to start to have very strong challenges in this country because that is not American. And that is not what America is all about. And we are equal justice under the law, regardless of your political ideology. And that is not what this Department of Justice or this Attorney General stands for today.
Just one funny note. I don't know if it was still there when you were in law school. Just a fun walk down memory lane. I forgot the name of the place. Was it Homer's? It was like a yogurt store right across from the law school. And the guy sold law school books. And I went in there and asked one day, I was in there getting something. I was like, what's with the law school books? He goes, you know how many times a kid comes running in here late for an open book test and they forgot their books? I'm like, you are the smartest businessman I've ever met. And, every one of these kids coming out of that law school could probably learn something from you.
Yeah, I don't remember what that was called either.
I thought it was called Homer's.
I don't even know if it's still there. It's been quite a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while. The last time I was there, I remember there was the Purple Porpoise came and went, or the Purple Porpoise still there. I haven't been back in a long. I have such fond memories. Whenever I get to interview somebody that went to the University of Florida, I have to have some walk down memory lane because I just had the time of my life there. All right, my top of the hour is going to kick in just a second. You did great work with the Attorney General. I wish the media and everyone else would hold them to the accountability that they said they were going to. This is the most politicized DOJ, and I guess we can all take comfort that this man is not on the Supreme Court and will not be sitting for life. Representative Greg Steube, we'll get you back on the program. Maybe we'll have a little bit more fun walking down memory lane, but my top of the hour is coming up. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.